It was such a romantic evening alone, wasn't it? When it was just you and I in my home, together in each other's arms. Ah, yes. I still remember when you stroked the locks of my hair in your fingers, your tender warmth of something so soothing and comforting, so small and fragile in my arms, like a little angel in my hold. Weren't you? The rain outside, the repeating little sounds of pitter-patters against the window pane and the roof felt musically sound in our ears. The bedroom was dark, still and welcoming us home again. As we just laid in bed, listening to this piece, I knew your eyes were elsewhere. Though they would flicker back to mine when I would make a little sound of protest as your fingers stopped petting my hair. My arm was draped over your waist. I remember how small your waist was. I never stopped staring back at you, though you didn't seem to notice this. Elska, your quiet voice spoke up. Your little sound of my name stroke against my cheek. I smiled at you. You always said you loved my smile. That little glint in your eyes. I knew I made you feel better when I smiled. What? I quietly asked, as my hand rose up to brush some strands of hair behind your ears. You look at me, our eyes connect. I love you. You smiled. I love you, too. You said you needed to leave soon. Go back home. Return to your little life out there. My smile slowly faded as I realized you needed to go away soon. My eyes focused elsewhere. You seem to not have realized this change in me. You seem to not have realized this change in me as you cuddled close to my chest. It's late. We should get some sleep, you suggested to me, stroking your hand against my shoulder. I came out of my trance long enough to look down at you, seeing your fingers drawn down to play with my red tie. What do you mean, sleep? You were suggesting something else that night. I could feel that question gnawing at me to answer, and I happily replied, yes. I purred lightly. You look up at me again. Eyes twinkled, something sweet. I knew I wouldn't forget those big blue eyes. Dearest, I rubbed your shoulder gently. Turn over. I gave you such a delicate smile. You didn't think this was odd. Not at all. You did as I asked. With your back now facing me. Your long hair. I told you how much I love long hair, didn't I? That's probably why you dejected the idea of giving it a trim after I met you that month ago. I brushed your hair with my fingers, combing through it to make you feel comfortable. My body was close to yours, but not so much to where my chest touched your back. I made sure a space was between us. You didn't notice. Dearest, I smiled to myself, staring down at the back of your head. My other hand was busy with my tie. You could hear the small slips of the silky fabric untying. I leaned in closer to whisper in your ear. Close your eyes. Oh? You made a small sound of curiosity. You glanced over your shoulder to look at me. My smile made your little blue orbs. But I could tell something bothered you. Something looked iffy. You looked down at the tie in my hand, but for just a second, until you looked back up at me. You still said nothing, which made me feel a tad impatient. You opened your mouth to say something. Oh, but why should you say something? I love you, I said, much more sincere than last time. My tone didn't change, remaining as quiet and as lazy as earlier as yours did. I leaned in to kiss your forehead. You smiled. I smiled. I love you too. You leaned up to give me a kiss. I remember returning that kiss. With my tie in my hand, a small sound outside went off. It sounded like a distant storm brewing, but I wasn't too ecstatic for it, as I usually am. You know I love rain, don't you? Madeline. I said your name so smoothly as you turn away another time. I wrapped my arms around you, pulling you in for such a tight hug. It was warm in my arms, like a sunny spot in winter. You gave a small laugh. I grinned as my hands moved closer to your neck. I said nothing but watch as the silk drew closer to your throat, as the ends twisted around my fists. Still, No words. Just straining. Your eyes snapped open when the fabric plunged against your neck, forcibly dragging you upwards to the underside of your jaw. I was pulling on that tie hard, as quickly jumped out of bed to drag you with me. I pulled you across the bed, hearing your gargle scream being interrupted. Your hands were at the tie, trying to pull it off. I ignored that for now, as I forced you to stand and slam my foot against the back of your knees, dropping you fast. Fucking woman couldn't sit still. She just had to trash and make such a commotion. Well, at least this was a farmhouse in the countryside. I happily barked out a short laugh as I felt you trying to resist again, pulling on the tie and screaming. No words from me. Instead, I removed one of my hands from the tie to latch onto the back of your head and slam your face straight into the floor. I stood up fast to plunge my foot into the back of your head as well. Maybe that will make you stop. Lifting your head up again, your broken nose was bleeding profusely, staining your lips and chin. "Aw," I simply reacted, before pulling you backwards into a different room. You were too delirious to say anything or act out. Good. You're being good. You're not going back to the city, I finally spoke. You made a short gasp, burning in your throat. Just like her, aren't you? I breathed in sharply, narrowing my eyes at you as we headed to the basement door. You leave me for better, even if I became better. Even after I told you how much I loved you. I grabbed the doorknob. You shook your head, your body shaken violently to immense fear. I forced the door open and yanked you to my side. Just as I was going to shove you, I stopped. My eyes saw yours again, your eyes filled with hot tears. But you were too scared to blink. Your breasts were hitching, and that pale look on your face just told me something familiar. Those eyes, those little eyes. I looked back to you, my own eyes softening as I gave a soft smile. Have we met before? I breathed out, my hands on both sides of your head. Oh, but you didn't want to stand with me, did you? No. You smacked my hands off your face and made a run for it. You hit me. You ran from me. Just like her! I roared out, clenching my balled fist tightly, revving on this boiling rage. I looked towards the direction you took and immediately grabbed something from out of my hallway drawer. I knew where you were going, you fucking idiot. I heard the noise of a flower pot tipping over and smashing onto the floor. I bolted through the hall to the living room, where I caught a glimpse of you. Where I caught a glimpse of you climbing out the window. The front door was locked tight. I was the only one with the key. So, I had no time to fiddle with keys. You were beckoning me to follow. I quickly climbed out the window and dashed out, seeing you running down the road. You hear me bellow out a mocking laugh. You are miles away from home. I exhaled deeply before taking a sprint towards her. I can beat the fuck out of you right here, and no one would hear you. I grab the back of your shirt and throw you backwards onto the ground. But first, I chuckled out breathlessly. I unsheathed my little weapon, a red-handled hammer, from the back of my belt holster. You started crawling backwards as I walked fast towards you, the hammer gripped in my hand like a vice. Please, Elska, stop! You cried out, tears pouring from your eyes. I want to go home. My family. Just one last time. I want to see them. She begged and begged. Oh, how I love when they ask. I am your family, I only commented, before grabbing her by the neck and raising the hammer up. No words, just our eyes met before I bashed her head open.